rebuild it after the divorce, Newmys? What did that look like for you?
It looked like a bunch of different things, you know what I'm saying? I think as we build up to what our relationship was in the past and coming up to where it's presently at, it took some building steps to get there, because there's a lot of unanswered questions that were still out there, lingering out there. And as you're trying to rebuild, you're trying to focus in and figure out what those questions are. You know, like, why did we really get divorced? You know, we got a son. Well, we had two sons, because regardless to the fact if Taz was not my biological son, he was my son, because I was in there from the time he was one. What decisions do we make concerning his life? What decisions do we make concerning BJ's life? What decisions do we make? Even though Tweet was grown, she still had a process there, and how do we make decisions as a family still. And I think that is one of the most important pieces, is you look back on it and saying, hey, we may be exes, but how do we coexist as a family? And we had some tough times there still, because regardless of the fact, we're still here right now, because we figure ourselves it's still family in a certain. Why are you looking like, what the hell is that fucking that look for? Jesus Christ. You totally taking me out of character today. Because I normally don't curse. I'm not with bullshit. And she got this fucked up look on her face today. What the fuck? I don't get it. I'm trying to be authentic as I can be, and you like, and then she want to laugh. What kind of?
Because I'm trying to figure out. You had the nerve to say it was like 3 minutes ago.
What?
I'm still trying to figure out why we divorced. I was stuck there.
I said when we was rebuilding, and rebuilding the friendship and the relationship, you still don't understand. You know, nobody goes into a situation, hey, I want to get divorced. You know, nobody goes into that.
But you say you didn't know why we were divorced.
I still don't know why. What was your reasoning?
It's been 15 years. And you don't know why we divorced?
No, I'm just asking a question. Because your logic don't make sense. At that time, you was doing what you was doing. I was doing what I was doing. And
okay.
I even came back to you in 2010 and I said, hey, let's figure that out.
So let me bring you up to
you don't bring me up to speed. Yeah, bring me up to speed.
Why we divorced. From my perspective, okay? We divorced because I didn't feel safe and secure in the relationship. I felt replaceable. I felt that at any given time, you felt that you could bring anybody else in to do what I'm doing. And that what I brought to the table and who I wasn't enough for you. And that's why I felt replaceable. And so in my mind, I needed you to, okay, maybe I am replaceable. Number one. Number two, I'm holding you back from being the best, the best you could be.
you see that flip? Oh, it's me, not you.
Right, because that's what that boiled down to.
That's some bullshit.
That's what it boiled down. But you
won't
did
you be honest with yourself and say
this?
What was your real reasoning? You saying that's your real reasoning?
The real reasoning is because
it wasn't these young boys out here, these young men.
No. Because no.
They were sniffing at your skirt.
No.
It wasn't none of that.
No.
It wasn't none of that.
Because if that's the case, why won't I be with a young man now? Like, I could be with a young man now if I wanted to be with a young man. You and I have been divorced for 15 years.
15 years, right.
If I wanted to be with a young dude, I could be with a young dude.
At that time, though, you're going to tell me that didn't play into your thought process at all?
It never once played into my thought process, Newmys.
Okay.
Because of the simple fact that, just like I said, if I wanted to be with a young dude, you don't think I can be somebody's sugar mama? Or somebody's doggone cake mama? Or somebody, come on in here and let me fix you let me fry you some chicken and pack you up a lunch and you take it to work. And I'll be your, whenever you can come through. Come on now. I'm just enough where,
Let me ask you something. In your mind, would that make sense?
It would never make sense for me.
So, I'm talking at your mind right now. Would that make sense?
It
Back
wouldn't
then it was different though.
What I'm saying to you,
You know, them
is
guys
that
are blowing your head up like it wasn't.
Jerry, but if I wanted to be somebody's sugar mama, even when you and I divorced, I was 38. I was still young enough
Did you
where
date any younger men?
I could date somebody's daddy and their son. Like, I was young enough at 38 where I could date the daddy and the son.
Did you do that?
No.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now.
I was young enough where I could do both.
Well, anyway, so we got divorced because you felt unsafe, and that's the only reason why we got divorced.
No, I felt unstable.
The-
I felt unsafe.
So I brought
and
all these
unstable.
things to the table.
No, Newmys. It wasn't you. Just you by yourself. And I mean that. And I'm not trying to do that whole, throw the rock, have my hand, or nothing like that. Like, for real, I may have not been able to translate that to you. You know what I mean? Because in your mind, all you had to do because of what you saw was provide financially, right? Because that's what you saw growing up. And so for me, I was trying to explain to you, because I always felt like I was trying to explain that to you, but maybe I didn't have the words. And I would tell you, like think about it. When you and I got together, you had 2 children, I had 1, right? You were paying child support, whereas that I was receiving child support. So when it comes to base pay or what was coming into the household, I'm not talking about what we hustled up on. I always made more money than you on paper.
How did you figure that?
Because if you were paying 2 child supports and I was receiving 1 child support, when we were 2 E5s together, think about that. That means I was making more money than you.
I don't know about all that, but go ahead.
That's the rationalization of it. But at the same time, I never looked at it like, I never needed you for that, and that's what I need you to understand. So for me,
everybody needs somebody for some financial.
What I'm saying
it's
to
always
you,
that way.
what I'm saying to you is that wasn't the primary. That wasn't
it
the
played
primary.
A big role.
Of course
it
did.
Would you would have took a buster to come in there?
I never said that it was all or nothing. What I'm saying was,
would you would have took a guy that comes in there and say,
absolutely
hey,
not. Absolutely not.
You damn right you wouldn't, because let's go half on the rent. Let's go half on the light bill. What that sound like a man saying some shit like that to
What
me?
I'm saying to you is, I knew that even when you and I got up in rank in the military, I still needed you to understand that it wasn't just about the financial. It was about what I needed outside of the financial.
And sometimes we miss that with the everyday hustle and bustle that happens.
I understand that.
And that happens.
And like I said,
with your
maybe
job,
I didn't
have the job you had, but I always had a second job.
Or communicate that to you properly.
Right.
Maybe I didn't know how to do that because I didn't have the words. I don't know. I know for a fact that I did not have the words in my 30s that I do in my 50s.
Makes a difference.
I know that.
So, but when I'm saying it within the process of rebuilding or trying to build after that marriage has dissolved, it's a tough thing to do because there's a lot of hurt feelings, you, me, and everything. And we had some difficulties with the raising of our son there, because you may feel one way and I may feel another way. Even when I would come home, Taz still looked at me as like his dad, you know what I'm saying? He knew who his dad was, but damn, I was his father. I was the one that pumped into him, breathed that confidence. Hey man, you got to do this. You got to see it this way. I think when we're looking at trying to rebuild the relationship and moving forward and how we continue to add value to our family and our kids, you have to address some of the issues that got us into the position where we did divorce or where we were angry at one another, or how do we move forward from that? One of the things when what I always looked at is saying, okay, we got to be able to talk through things. We got to be able to work our way through it. Everybody's moving on with their lives and doing different things. So how do we continue to move forward with the right and correct input to our kids and to each other? Because I think over the years we have became to where we can talk to each other about certain things, and we can bring certain things to the table and try and get some of our anxious moments out in our lives today, because I talk to you about a lot of things today that go on in my life or business or whatever. And we come to some kind of, hey, you should do this, Mom. You should think about that. And you may talk to me about a few things that may be concerning your life. But that's how you try and build it back up. But it took some time for us to get there. It was not overnight that we're able to sit across from one another and have a good conversation. You know, there was times I still wanted to slap the shit out you. Or I thought about, you know, thinking about, hey, this person here has got to be the worst person in the world. And you probably thought the same thing about me as we was going through that process.
They're not going to like you for that.
What? I ain't never slapped you.
Go ahead.
What you looking like that for?
I didn't say anything.
But go ahead.
Is my makeup good up under my eye right here? Where you slapped me at?
That's full of shit. Come on, man. Man, that woman done jumped on me so many times.
Oh, no,
I got a story for y'all. I got a story.
This is where I have to put the concealer at. No matter, even if I don't wear makeup or not, I still have to put concealer up under this eye right here. But go ahead, my bad.
So
did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you
that
did
was
say,
my inner thoughts.
That was your inner non-peace.
But go ahead, go ahead.
Let me tell you what happened, America. So, I'm going back a little bit. We had a conversation where the lady called. The lady called the house. So Yashika was really incensed about this, but she didn't show it that night. So it came out a couple days later, and so she jumps on me, kicks my brother's door off the hinges. Comes in there, I was like, damn, who is this damn person? And I mean, like she was the exorcist, like the Hulk or some shit. I mean, kicked the door off the hinges, give me my son. I was like, oh shit.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're not telling the whole story. It had nothing to do with the woman calling you.
Well, what did it have something to do with?
Give me my son. Give me my son.
America, that had nothing to do with
it. It had nothing to do with that woman. It was about my son.
Okay, so it was about her son. But after I gave her son, she scratches me like a barracuda.
That came before that.
No.
Yes, because the cops came after I kicked the door down. And
I still got the scar right here with you.
Jerry,
I don't know, you had a knife or something?
And tell the story right.
Okay, so you tell the story.
After. I'm not telling the story. It was yours to tell.
But you took it over, it seemed
I
like.
mean, because if you're going to tell it right.
Okay, so what happened first?
What happened first was, let's back up.
We're going in reverse.
This is when I found out, when I got the number from the lady, when I got your itemized phone number.
That happened in California. That happened in California. I got your
itemized number at Fort Leonard Wood.
You did it twice?
Jerry, I don't remember.
3, 4
but what
times?
I do know is this was at that time because I was on the trail and I had not too long ago had your son.
There you go with my son.
Okay.
It was our son, right?
Time come and I was having some issues where I had to go to the doctor. So this is when you called yourself moving to your brother's house because after your brother, I remember after the woman called me, you was like, I'm not staying here. Because remember I did you real well that day and you was like, I'm not staying here. So you went to your brother's house, right? He lived up the street from us off post. So I was like, Jerry, you need to come on back home. Come on back home because I was going to the doctor and I was like, I got some stuff going on medically and you need to come on home. I was like, but before you come home, I just want to know who was that woman that called me. And so I was standing there listening, looking at you. We was outside the apartments because your brother and my mother lived in the same apartment complex. And I was like, I just want to know who was that woman that called me. You was like, I'm not trying to hear that BS you're talking about. I was like, boy, and I hauled off and I was like, psh.
Did I hit you though? Did I hit you?
Okay. So.
When you said, psh, what happened?
I'm not going to go there.
Why you not going to go there?
It was. Because in that moment, I was in my feelings. Because I was like, I was trying to ignore everything that we had been through. Even because, mind you, at this point, when a woman called me, remember, all I did after that was, I did you good, remember? I didn't fight you or nothing. You was the one that chose to move to your brother's house. So when you moved to your brother's house... You thought I was going to lay down next to you. So what I'm saying to you was, I hadn't behaved from when the woman called me. I hadn't behaved yet. I still owed you one I still owed you a misbehavement. Okay.
You really misbehaved.
Okay. So this
You really
particular
misbehaved.
day, I was like, this is the day I'm gonna misbehave. Okay.
And you acted
so
a fool.
that's what I did. That's what I did. So I was like, you know what? Psh, okay. So you was like, you know what? So by that time,
I think I asked you why you doing this in front of the kids.
No.
Because Tweet was the only
You was
one
like,
out there.
no, stop it. That you don't remember. You never remember.
Okay.
Okay.
I never remember.
Okay. So fast forward, how the door ended up getting pushed off the hinges. Okay, was by that time because I was a drill sergeant, and I had privates that was graduating the next day, and
That was a Sunday night.
It was. Listen, Numa. Okay, what I'm saying. Listen, I don't know, but if you go back, my story stays consistent. Why?
Mine's
because
consistent.
I remember the stories. So time come, I was like, my baby was crying because he was in a uproar, and I was like, Jerry, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go home because the babies was supposed to stay with my mama that night because my privates were graduating the next day. So that's why they was over there anyway, because between your brother and my mother, they was over there because I had graduation the next morning, and you call yourself had moved over your brother's house because you didn't trust me while you was asleep. Okay, you didn't trust me while you was asleep. Okay, so time come, and I was like, Jerry, give me my baby, and I heard BJ crying through the door. By that time, I was like, you gave me Taz. Taz got in the car. I was like, give me BJ. You wouldn't give me BJ. And I was like, Jerry, give me BJ because BJ is crying. You was like, yeah, she could. Go ahead on. You yelling through the door. So I was like, BJ, Jerry, give me BJ. And if you don't give me BJ, I'm going to kick the door down. And you didn't believe me. And so after like 2 times, I kicked the door down. Now, by that time, George had already called the police. So next thing I know, I'm putting the baby in the car because I went in there because y'all was looking amazed.
Because you kicked the fucking door off the hinges. I'm looking at her like, who's this dude that's with her? That's what I'm like, man, the door just hanging.
You know, I was 30 years old, 31 at the latest. So I was still pretty strong, you know. So I went there and got my baby. By that time, I'm putting him in the car seat and stuff, putting him in the car. The police pulled up. They was like, ma'am, everything all right? I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to go home because they pulled in front of me. I was like, just let me go. And they was like, well, what's going on? George was like, she kicked my door down.
He did. He said that.
I was like,
once again, the damsel in distress crap.
I was like, let me get out of here. I was like, I wouldn't have never did that if it wasn't for my baby. I heard my baby crying through the door because he was crying. Like if it wasn't for that, I would have been on my way, lickety split. But my baby was crying.
You don't even think about that.
So
you had a point.
So because my baby was crying, I had to go and I was like, Jerry, give me my baby. You would give me my baby, so I had to come in there and get my baby. I mean, he was barely a year old. Cause think about it, he was barely a year old. Cause yeah, he wasn't even a year old. I was like, give me my baby. He was like, go on about your business. I was like, you know what? I can't, cause my baby cried.
He was a year old.
I don't think so. But anyway, he was still a baby. I know that he was still a baby. I don't care if he was a year old, he was still a baby. So what I'm saying to you is that's the only reason why the door came off the hinges.
But you acted out crazy. It was really
That wasn't crazy. That was a mama bear trying to protect her cubs.
My face was scratched up so bad to where
No.
You gonna tell that tale?
That's not what happened.
So my face wasn't scratched up.
It may have been. but my tooth was loose.
That wasn't even a time. That wasn't even a time.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was all the same day.
You mixed California.
That's why I skipped over that part.
You mixed
because
California.
We don't want. Listen, I skipped over that part because in all the 15 years we had 3 encounters, and this was the last encounter.
No, it was not. You talking about Fort Leonard Wood? Fort Leonard Wood was not that was our second or third encounter. In Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah, my bad.
You confused. that?
That was the second encounter.
I don't know. With your ass, I probably been more than 3 or 4. But anyway, so
you're right.
If you remember the incident, my commander came and she was like,
no.
That's when they took me to the jailhouse. They took you down there too.
Well, they didn't take you. They took me. Because you didn't do nothing. You was sitting in your brother's house.
No, I was not. That's the time when the dude and he was about to spray me with the mace.
That was at Fort Riley. I mean, Fort Leonard Wood. Fort Irwin when they tried to spray you with the mace.
No,
you telling your story confused this time.
No, I am not.
Oh my God.
Okay, listen to the story. One was at day and one was at night. Which one was at day and night?
Jerry,
one was at day and one
happened at Fort Leonard Wood and one happened in Fort Irwin.
Which one happened in the day?
The daytime was Fort. I can't remember if it was day or night, but I remember that Fort Leonard Wood was.
Fort Irwin, you did what?
No,
you got on the truck and rode down the street on the truck.
Okay, that was daytime as well.
That was the day.
Okay, now Fort Leonard Wood. I remember when I kicked down your door because that's when they put me on the back, and I had to call my BFF at the time. I was like, "Listen, girl, they about to arrest me. Okay, I got some money. Okay, I need you to post my bail, and I'll pay you back."
Because we both.
Because I'm telling you, because he was like, yeah, but I'm saying he took me down and he didn't book me.
He didn't book me either.
So what I'm saying to you was before I got up out of there.
Which one hit the blotter report? Which one hit the blotter report? Well, I had to go to family advocacy on that Thursday. Which one?
So that one hit the blotter report. Fort Leonard Wood.
Fort Leonard Wood.
Fort Leonard Wood hit the blotter report.
And my commander came to me and she said, "You will go down there because my face is all scratched up."
Correct. That one hit the blotter report.
Yep.
That was Fort Leonard Wood.
That was Fort Leonard Wood when you kicked the door off the hinges.
Yeah.
And so that hit the blotter report.
Right.
Because they picked, and we was downtown.
Right.
We was downtown when that happened. If it's one thing I can tell you, if you can keep them folks out your business, keep them out your business. Because once they get in your business, they're gonna take over. They're gonna take over, and they're gonna run the story and the narrative. You no longer control the narrative, and that's what when George called the police, it was taken out of our hands at that time. And so my commander comes to me and she says, all this stuff. They go to your commander and your first off. What did they say?
She did it.
She did it. They were at her heels.
It was like she did it.
And
they was like, we know she did it, and we know she did it.
They wanted me to go in there and ruin her career.
But that's not what happened.
What happened though?
I did it, yes.
But they said it was all on me when I went to family advocacy
because
and they wanted to see my face. Hold on just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. They wanted to see my face. When I tell you my face.
Because your commander was just devastated. She was like, because you know what? Because here's the thing, Numa. You have this, okay, this woe is me mentality as a guy.
I did not go in there with that.
They're looking at you because you're right. You have this. I'm a little guy. I'm not no threat to nobody. Okay, because you feel like as a 5'10" man that it ain't me, it's everybody else. Plus, you being a chaplain all your life. Then you was raised in a church, so you know how to play that deacon pastor role. So people never know it was you. I know what you did as a kid. Okay, I know how you made extra money. Hint, hint. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, people always look at you like, you know what? Aw, because your son got that same mentality. Listen, stop it. People always underestimate you. But I know who you are. I've been knowing you for 30 years. 30 years. Almost 30 years.
It's
and people, so even then you have this, so your chaplain, your commander, like, there's no way that Master Sergeant or so whatever your rank was at the time. Knew my did this. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all have no idea who this man is. There's no way he did that. Grandfather. You know, she's like Shirley Temple up in there. Like, I kid you not. Like, she really was. And I was just like, you for real?
But the problem was this. It was not my commander. It was your leadership.
Well, okay, because my people was honest. Because they knew the real me. Because my first sergeant at the time knew me when I was a young soldier. Okay, he knew me when I was a young E4 way back when. So at the time I was a drill sergeant. So when it came to him, they was like, hey, First Sergeant, do you think that Drill Sergeant Foster Newmys did this? He was like, yep, absolutely. She did this.
But let's get
because he was honest about it. Because see, one thing about me is that I don't know how to be anybody else different.
But
so they knew me as this.
But that was not the problem.
No. You know how to.
No.
You are a Gemini. Gemini have two different personalities. They are two different people. Okay.
But see,
I'm just telling you what it is. I'm just telling you what it is.
And this is what happened.
Telling you what it is.
Fast forward a little bit. My face was trashed.
Yeah,
you can see the scars.
Yeah,
just hold on a
you
second.
because like Ike Turner say, punch in the gut. And then that way,
I didn't lay my hands on you, woman. Now there you go with some bullshit. Now they gonna think I'm beating them. They gonna think I'm beating them.
That way,
did I lay my hands on you during that incident?
No scars is present.
Did I lay my hands on you during that incident? I did not touch you one time. I did not even look at you foul.
You telling me when that time was
time in for a little while.
Oh boy, bye. Oh, we was all up in the truck. We was all in the truck.
I'm trying to get your ass out the truck because you scratching me everywhere.
Boy, bye.
Man, I got the scars to prove it. Man, I got a scar on my arm, the deep scar right there. I got a cut over here. I got shot at over there.
We didn't know no better. We was young. We was young. We was in our 20s.
It was a real Ike and Tina shit.
We in our 20s.
She thought she was Ike and I was Tina.
30s.
I had to get fed up.
30s.
I didn't get fed up till I went to California. That's what happened.
We didn't know no better. I mean, that's what it boiled down to. We didn't know no better.
But at the end of the day, what did I say to you? You remember what I said? I said, when I go in here, I'm going to protect our family at all costs.
I don't remember that, but you just did that.
I
don't remember you telling me that, but you did it.
I went in there, and that lady looked at me, and she said, and this was a Thursday, because my commander said, you will be down there by Thursday. When I got down there, and I prayed for them scars to be gone, them scars were completely gone. When I tell you, and they were bad. They were to the point, I didn't put no ointment on them. I didn't do nothing. I just prayed and I said, Lord, I don't want to mess up Sheikah's career, nor my career. And I said, when I went in there, that lady from Family, she said, I thought your commander said you were all beat up and stuff. I said, no, ma'am. I said, we had a little altercation, and that was it. We had a little verbal altercation. I don't know what she's talking about.
You try to make this shit. You can't even tell us straight.
That's what I said to the folks, though. You gonna tell me I didn't say that?
Jerry,
and your command was. What did I do different? Tell me what I did different.
Cause that is not what happened.
What happened? You gonna?
Your shit was not that bad.
Man.
You telling me after 48 hours your shit had to heal?
No, I'm talking about it was Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I didn't have to go to Thursday. I went that Thursday. You
said after
I promise for God,
72, 96 hours your shit had
my
to
shit
heal.
was healed. I was healed. What the hell you gonna say? You know, you so full of crap. Man, I'm telling you, you won't give me no credit whatsoever.
Because there's no way.
I prayed.
It was that bad.
I was a prayer warrior then. In that instance, because I wanted to save our careers.
Wait a minute, Dubai.
You cut.
That's it.
Look at it. LeBlanc, you remember that, didn't you?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, LeBlanc remember when LeBlanc said that. Yeah, I remember.
Wait a minute.
You did a great job.
Wait a minute.
You a provider and a protector. Right?
Wait a minute.
Take it away.
So you telling me after 96 hours, this Joker had to clear it up like ain't nothing had happened. His shit was just crystal clear.
Yes,
like nothing happened, LeBlanc.
It wasn't crystal clear.
Get out of here, man.
I still got the scar right here. The scar's still right there.
Where's the scar at?
Hey, so
Let me see the scar, Dubai.
Right here.
Let me see the scar.
I'm going to show you the scar on my arm, too.
Oh,
Hey, but no,
we ain't talking about that one.